Hi guys. So today's video is going to be my April wrap-up. Really quick before I jump into the wrap-up, I just want to say a very huge thank you to all of you who heard, I mentioned in a video pretty much a month ago that my dad was in a very terrible car accident. He was not at fault, he was a passenger, and he was the one that was injured the worst. He had a bleed in his brain, and he has a broken scapula, so his shoulder's all messed up. But all of you were so nice and so wonderful and kind and just wished my dad a swift and nice recovery, and I can't say thank you enough. It made me so happy to see that. It was really scary when it happened, and so a lot of my videos have been like pre-recorded and they've been filmed like the one day I've been home, and anyway, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you because you're all wonderful like book nerds, darn it, and you're all just really nice. Anyway, all that said, I can't really disclose how he's doing on social media and stuff like that, just in case for insurance purposes or whatever. So all I can say is that I'm happy and he's happy, and that's good. Because of all that though, and how crazy my April was, I didn't honestly think I'd get a ton of reading done because my dad lives in a different city, he lives in the same state, but lives about 45 minutes to an hour away from me, and I still was working and then trying to read and stuff like that. I really didn't think I'd get a lot of reading done, but I got a decent amount done. I was actually pretty surprised. I would like read at the neurologist's office or something while he had his appointments and stuff like that. So first up, I finally got to read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I really loved Warbreaker. If you are a fan of Sanderson's books, you should read Warbreaker. It's fantastic. Since having read Warbreaker, I did make a full in-depth non-spoiler book review as well as a recommended reading order for Sanderson's books for those of you who are interested in starting his adult fantasy Cosmere world, but you have no idea where to start. I have a few things up for that, but I really did enjoy this book. I felt like it was a lighter Sanderson read. It is a standalone currently, and it was good. It was good. It was I think the fastest paced of all of the Sanderson books I've read, not necessarily because there's a ton of action, but because there's a lot of intrigue and almost a sense of mystery. You're constantly wondering what the heck is going on, and it really makes you want to keep reading. Plus, I enjoyed all the different character arcs. I thought, you know, even if you didn't like a character, it was always really interesting to see where they went. And there was a lot of humor in this book. I think there are moments of humor in Sanderson's other books, but one of the characters in particular in this one was super funny, so it made the book even that much more enjoyable to read. Next up, I also did a full in-depth non-spoiler book review for this book, but I read Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This takes place in a setting that is very African influenced, which is always really cool to see. I love when there's more than just European influences in fantasy, although I'm a total sucker for like the typical like knights and stuff like that. But this is an African-influenced fantasy book, and it takes place in a world where there once was magic, but then around 10 years ago, magic disappeared, and then all the people that originally had the potential to use magic are now, most of them have been executed, and if you were below a certain age, you are still allowed to live, but you're extremely mistreated. Our main character, Zaylee, is one of the people that was too young to be executed at the time, but she had to see her mother die, and now she's extremely mistreated, and she finds out that there might be a way to bring magic back and to help both restore magic and also give power back to her people who are oppressed. She decides to go on this adventure to try and get the magic again. I know this book is super hyped right now. I will admit that I did enjoy it. I actually enjoyed one of the other characters because it's multiple point of view. I loved the character Amari. I thought that her growth in the story was awesome. I can't wait to see where she goes in the other books. Zaylee I thought was alright. I did not like one of the other characters, oh my gosh. But anyway, I think that the writing itself is really strong. There was only one element of the book I didn't particularly care for, and that was the romance. To me, it felt a little insta-lovey. It felt a little too quick. And it was a little unreasonable in my personal opinion, but I don't think that diminishes the quality of the writing, and I think that the story itself is good. And if you are somebody who is affected by hype, maybe wait a bit, but ultimately I did enjoy the book and I think it's a well-written book. Next up is another book that I did a full in-depth non-spoiler review for. I'm like super proud of myself that I actually managed to like review the books that I read. But anyway, that would be Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book follows our main character Jude, who is a human and was growing up in our world, had no idea that Fae and Fae lands existed until one day a Fae comes and murders her parents and then takes her and her sisters and raises her in the Fae world. This book, just like Children of Blood and Bone, has been very, very hyped recently, and excuse me, I liked it. It took a while for me to like it. I think I had to get about 100 or so pages into it before I was really invested, because before that I was like, I'm not like really feeling the world, I don't really like this character, I'm not really that interested in like her problems. But then the story kind of shifted and it took a little bit of a turn, and then I liked it a lot because after that it became a little bit bigger. I think the world became more interesting and I liked Jude's story arc a lot more after around that 100-page mark. And there started to be a lot of political intrigue, and you guys know I love me some good political intrigue. So once all of that came into play, I liked the story a lot more. I do think it's kind of funny because it's only like 370-ish pages, and the fact that it took like a third of the book almost to get me invested is a little much. So if you guys, you know, if you're like the kind of people that if you're not hooked in the first 50 pages, I would say maybe give it a little bit more, because I was a little hesitant and I was buddy reading, and that usually makes it more fun, and I was just like, because I just wasn't loving it at first, and even like the excitement and enthusiasm of buddy reading it wasn't getting me that into it. But once I got to that certain point, I really liked it after that. I do want to mention though, because I have heard some people say they feel this book is problematic, and I understand why. I think I know what people are referencing when they talk about that, and I would say it's due to the fact that the relationships are pretty toxic in this book. They're not at all healthy, they're not really loving, and I think just the fact that the main character is raised by the individual who murdered her parents, I think that already gives you a good idea of the kind of relationships that are in this world. For me, I didn't consider it problematic because I wasn't at all looking at those relationships and romanticizing them and thinking that they were beautiful and there's something I would want in my own life. I think I was looking at it as this is a very different world, very much about power and scheming. But if you have a younger, like let's say you have your kid or something and they're like 12 and they want to read this book, I mean, there's some dark stuff. It does remind me a lot of Grimm fairy tales, so maybe just keep that in mind, that the relationships aren't anything that you want to replicate. And lastly, I finished book 2 of The Exiled Queen. This is book 2 of the Seven Realms series, and I started the third one. I'm just about done with that one as well, and I'm really liking this series. I am hoping to read the 4th one here in May, and then once I do that, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a series review for it, because it's a little tricky to do a review and explain what the book is about and give a good synopsis, because I think all the books are tied so closely together. It feels like one main story. But one thing, and I've said this in the past videos where I talk about the series, one thing that I really am enjoying is that the characters, they start off in a place where like they're not that likable, but then they all have room to grow, and they do grow. So all the experiences that they're going through, all the things that are affecting them and altering their views, force them to grow and to mature, and I love seeing that in books. Anyway, I've forgotten the past couple months to actually put in my wrap-up videos the winner of my secret giveaways, and I'm going to correct that and remember it this time, so I'm going to go ahead and put up the winner of the secret giveaway here. Alright, here we go. Beyond secret giveaways, I also now have another form of monthly giveaways that you guys can participate in. I'll have a link to the video I just made for that down below. But anyway, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you get notified when I post new videos, and check out some more of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.